Good morning. I'd like to call to order the June 18th, 2019 School Board of Seminole County Board meeting. Let the record reflect that all 5 school board members are present and our legal counsel and superintendent. At this point in time, I'd like to ask Vice Chairman Allman to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Please stand and join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Almond. At this point in time, I'd like to call for an approval of the agenda outline.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. We've reached our public comment section of our agenda. We don't have any speaker forms filled out, so at this point in time, I'd like to turn it over for new business. But before I do, to Dr. Griffin, I think there's a very important announcement I wanted to share with everyone. We'd like to congratulate the new Dr. Sean Gardnero.
Yay!
So we're having this very special school board meeting just to celebrate that wonderful thing.
Exactly.
All right, now we'll get to the other part of the agenda, our new business. Dr. Griffin, do you have a recommendation,
Yes.
please?
Thank you, Dr. Calderon. Before we get started, first of all, Ms. Beeman, thank you. I thought it was an excellent training we just had, and I appreciate you organizing all that on top of everything else that you have to do. And board members, appreciate your participation. And we actually, in addition to learning some things, I think we had some decision points. So I thought it was really good. Board members, first of all, I apologize for having to call a special board meeting. But I always try to be transparent and honest, and some things didn't go the way they usually go in our district, and I didn't want to leave these items until the July meeting because we would have students who would not have materials in their hands the first day of school. So I thought it was important to pull this together. And of course, as soon as I call a special meeting, other things get put on. So we have 4 items here today. The main reason for item A and B, I'm going to have Dr. Harper come up and speak, is the curriculum department. They had all these orders ready to go, but because of all we're dealing with data sharing and privacy, the language had to be the way we wanted the language to be, and honestly, that's what held this up. And our last board meeting, which started at 5:30, at 5:27, I was surprised at these problems, and I didn't want to do anything reactive at that board meeting until I could figure out exactly what was going on in the staff. But this is all about us doing the right thing for our students so they have supplies. So thank you for being here, and Dr. Harper, you could give us a little explanation about data sharing and privacy.
Dr. Griffin, board members, thank you. And I'll be brief, and then if you have questions, I'll be happy to try to answer those. But about 2 years ago, we started working, and it has been a 2-year multi-department process of working through creating our first formal data sharing and privacy agreement. You might hear it referred to as an acronym in the future called DSPA. It's been through many, many different iterations. It's been painful at times, but we have worked with several consortiums throughout the nation. We've sent people to conferences on data sharing, and just in light of the recent, which I think we're all aware of, data compromise with Quest, which happened to be with a third party, there are pieces that even protect us, hopefully, against third-party access to our student data and employee data, and what we now have is a data sharing and privacy agreement. The one that I've printed out is just our standard blank agreement. It's an Exhibit B. In most cases in contracts, this will be a part of the services agreement when there is a digital IT component. So anytime you might ask, when would this be part of a services agreement or a contract? Anytime we're sharing employee or data or student data, we want to make sure that we cover ourselves as much as possible. Thanks to Sarita for giving us guidance on this. If you go back, which I don't expect you to, but if you go back 3 or 4 years ago and look at how we were covering ourselves from a legal aspect in our services agreement in terms of data, it would have been, I think, a paragraph or 2. Now we have a very robust document that has been looked at by several attorneys, like I said, different consortiums. I'm going to not go through each page, which you'll probably be thankful for, but I do have copies I can provide to you. It covers a wide range of things, like I mentioned before, from third-party vendors. So we contract, in this case, today we have HMH. So what happens if they share our students' data with a third party? So we cover aspects like that. What happens when, which this happens with everybody that we do business with. At that point in the future, whenever that may be, what happens when that contract ends? Where are the data going to be? What kind of assurances do we have? Because there are some international standards now that can assure us that they have cleaned their servers off of our data. We don't want it just sitting out there forever and ever. What happens in the case, and this is covered in the data sharing and privacy agreement, what happens in the case that they do have a data compromise? Nobody's immune from it. We're not immune from it. What happens if we have that? If we wake up tomorrow and find out that XYZ company has had a data breach, and we have some of our student and or employee data that's been compromised? So how long do they have to notify us? What kind of insurance policies do they carry to cover the school board of Seminole County? And then what do we do as a team to notify our stakeholders that their data have been compromised? So there's a lot of information in here. Most of the vendors that we work with have been very receptive of this. We actually had a situation not too long ago that I'll share with you where we were uploading data from Title I to a company in Texas because the Florida DOE had contracted with USF, who contracted with a company in Texas. We went the extra step and said, where's the data agreement? The company in Texas said, boy, we wish we would have done business with the school board of Seminole County because you guys have it together. Now, this is not, it's never 100% guarantee that we will not have a compromise, but we do think that out of all 67 districts in the state of Florida, we are setting the standard in this particular area, as in many other areas. And we have other districts that are asking if they can use this agreement. And as we have other attorneys in other school districts look at the agreement and start to use this, it means it's going to help us expedite when we sign with the next Pearson or the next McGraw-Hill, because they'll have been through this in Orange County, so it won't be anything new. But again, we think that we're really on the national stage with this, and it does take a little bit more work, but I think it's time well worth the effort, and if it protects our students and protects our employees, I think it's worth it.
Thank you very, very much. Board members, any other questions or comments for Dr. Harper? Thank you.
Okay, board members, so we have 5 individual items. I'll be making 5 recommendations. Recommendation A is that the School Board of Seminole County approve the purchase of instructional materials and the proposed data sharing and privacy agreement number DSA-1819-2-BN with Houghton Mifflin Harcourt.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Item B, my recommendation is that the School Board of Seminole County authorize the superintendent to execute agreement number SA-1920-59-BN and data privacy agreement with College Board for the purchase of instructional materials.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous.
Item C, that the School Board of Seminole County approve the agreement number SA-1920-72-BN with Nearpod Incorporated.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously.
Item D, my recommendation is that the School Board of Seminole County approve the agreement between the Lake Brantley High School Athletic Boosters, Inc. and School Board of Seminole County.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Yes, Ms.
Comment. I really appreciate the way these booster clubs are stepping up to do major jobs and projects on our campuses.
Absolutely.
We couldn't do
Yes.
it
I
without them.
appreciate it too.
Yep, it takes the entire community. Thank you for recognizing that. Any additional comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Board members, my last item is item E. My recommendation is that the School Board of Seminole County approve the agreement between Oviedo High School Athletic Booster Club, Inc. and School Board of Seminole County.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any additional comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Dr. Griffin, Anything else to come before the board or
Not
any
for me, ma'am.
comments? Anything else, ladies? Well, if not, this
No, ma'am.
meeting stands adjourned. Thank you so
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you, everyone.